And, I was fortunate that my parents understood the value of education. And at the time, the incredible value of public education, right? And so they chose a town that they was in the top 10% of the school districts in Massachusetts. Like that's how they selected the town. And, I ended up going to Rochester Institute of Technology for
Hmm.
graphic design and print management. And I learned all the processes around photography and reproduction services and all the different forms of printing, design. And we did all that in the analog, right? Film, paper, right? Lots of metal, hot
Old
metal,
school.
right?
Old school.
Yeah. But at the same time was the digital advent. And so we were the alphas and the betas on what's now Photoshop and what's now, things like Canva. They didn't exist. Like we were learning all the digital stuff at the same time that we were learning the analog, which was really great. So when I graduated into a lousy economy, a horrible job market.
What year was that, Mike? What year did you graduate?
91 was when I received my degree. So I was there for 5 years.
I graduated Virginia Tech 1991, so I know the job market.
Yeah, right? I mean, thanks, George Bush. So it was a really rough time. And I ended up getting what was amazing was like my education being that transitional education time, I was able to get hired into a company that I'd done piecework for as a teenager
Hmm.
from my bedroom. I used to do hand-drawn color separations. I actually did the inauguration pattern for Ronald Reagan's second election.
Wow.
So I did that on my desk on a light box at night, one color at a time for the China pattern and all that. So I went back to those people and I'm like, hey, I can help you digitize your art department. And they're like, what? And, I'm like, so I ended up working with them to help to translate their art department into an Apple environment and to bring in the right equipment to be able to start to do this work in a digital capacity instead of just in the manual capacity. And that launched my career into working in color separation and color management, which doesn't sound all that exciting, but it's basically making sure that all the products in your brand have a visually exact color. And when you're reproducing across different types of formats and on different materials, it's really challenging to keep that together. And that kind of worked me into the advertising industry. And I ended up running production facilities and digital studios. We stood up a lot of digital studios around San Francisco and New York. And I ended up running the distribution for AT&T Wireless National
Wow.
campaign, a huge account. It was a nightmare of a job, but we produced everything that went into every newspaper across America. Every day there would be a new code that needed to be sent out to all the newspapers and to all the billboards and to all the magazines. Everywhere you would see AT&T Wireless, that was coming through our shop. And then eventually I did some other national brand advertising for Levi's and Dockers and Gap and for Ann Taylor Corporation. And then I just didn't like it anymore. And fortunate for me, I had the opportunity to be able to shift careers. And so I just kind of transitioned out of the industry in a fiery crash, really.